She shaved my head the morning of the wedding. Then I canceled her $120 million. I woke up on my son's wedding morning and reached up to touch my hair. There was nothing there. I sat up and ran my hand over my head. Still nothing. I ran to the bathroom and looked in the mirror. Someone had shaved my entire head while I was sleeping. I just stood there. Then I noticed a folded note on my nightstand. I opened it. I knew the handwriting immediately. Natalie, my future daughter-in-law. The note said, "Now you finally have the look that suits you, you ridiculous old woman." I read it twice. Then I looked at the clock. My son's wedding was in a few hours. And tomorrow morning, I was supposed to transfer $120 million to him and Natalie. Suddenly, the note didn't feel like a stupid pran. It felt like someone had just shown me exactly who they were. My name is Margaret. I'm 68. My husband, Frank, and I built our company from scratch. When he died 6 years ago, Jackson was the only family I had left. My son took his father's death badly. He stopped going out. He barely talked. He worked constantly. Then he met Natalie, and everything changed. Jackson became happy again. So when he told me he wanted to marry her, I supported him. I even welcomed Natalie into the family. That was probably my first mistake. At first, she was lovely. She called me Mom. She brought flowers. She complimented my house. Then she started asking questions. A lot of questions. How much is the company worth? Do you still own that property downtown? Does Jackson have access to all your accounts? I laughed the first few times. Then one evening, she asked me, "So what's the plan for the inheritance?" I looked at her. "What inheritance?" She laughed. "You know what I mean?" I told her that wasn't something we needed to discuss. She immediately changed the subject. But I remembered it. A few weeks later, Jackson told me they wanted to move after the wedding. I asked where. Natalie answered before he could. "Somewhere far away." I laughed. "Far away from what?" She smiled. "Just somewhere private." I looked at Jackson. He didn't say anything. That bothered me. Then wedding planning started. Natalie wanted a huge wedding. I agreed to pay for it. I didn't care about the money. It was my son's wedding. But she kept attacking everything connected to our family. She hated the hotel where Frank and I had celebrated our anniversary. She said our family traditions were boring. She removed Frank's favorite dish from the menu. When I asked why, she said, "It's a wedding, Margaret, not a memorial." That comment really upset me. Jackson told me I was overreacting. She's just stressed. So I let it go. Then she asked for my grandmother's pearls. She wanted to borrow them for the wedding. I said no. She got angry. "They're just pearls." "They're important to me." She rolled her eyes. "Everything has to be about your memories." I didn't answer. A few days later, I noticed the pearls were missing from my jewelry box. I confronted Natalie. She denied touching them. Then Jackson called me. "Mom, please stop accusing her." I found the empty box. "You don't know that she took them." "Then where are they?" He didn't know. A week later, the pearls suddenly appeared in a different drawer. Natalie said she had no idea how they got there. I still didn't have proof. So I let it go. Then came the rehearsal dinner. I was walking past a private room when I heard Natalie talking with her bridesmaids. One of them said, "At least Margaret is paying for everything." They laughed. Then Natalie said, "There are 120 million reasons to tolerate her." I stopped walking. Someone asked, "Seriously?" Natalie laughed. "Of course, Jackson gets the money after the wedding." Another woman asked, "Does Margaret know you're planning to move?" Natalie said, "She knows we're moving. She just doesn't know how far." Then she laughed. "Once we have the money, she can't tell us what to do anymore." My stomach dropped. Then she said something even worse. "Jackson already knows she needs to stop controlling him." I stood there for another few seconds. Then I walked away. I went back to my room. I didn't tell Jackson. I didn't confront Natalie. I thought I could deal with everything after the wedding. I was wrong. The next morning, I woke up bald. After reading the note, I called Jackson. No answer. So I texted him. "Something happened last night. I need to talk to you." A few minutes later, Natalie called. "Why are you bothering Jackson?" Someone entered my bedroom. "Margaret, it's your son's wedding day. My head was shaved while I was sleeping." She sighed. "You're being dramatic." I looked at the note. "Your handwriting is on the note." Silence. Then she said, "Maybe you should stay home." I couldn't believe it. This is my son's wedding, and you're going to make it uncomfortable for everyone. I didn't shave my own head. She laughed. "You always need attention." Then she hung up. I checked my room. My jewelry box was open. My wedding dress was on the floor. Someone had cut the dress into pieces. My security system had been turned off at 2:13 a.m. That wasn't random. Someone had planned this. I called my housekeeper. She was nervous. I asked her if she'd seen anyone. After a long pause, she said, I saw Natalie coming out of your room. That was enough. I called my sister Judith. She arrived within an hour. She took one look at me. Okay, she said, we're still going. She brought me a silver wig and a navy dress. I put the wig on. Then I called my attorney. Stop the transfer, he asked. The $120 million? Yes. Do you want to cancel it? Put it on hold. He agreed. Then I called my financial advisor. Same instruction. No transfer until I personally approved it. I didn't tell Jackson. I wanted to see what happened first. When I arrived at the hotel, Jackson was getting ready. He saw me and immediately frowned. Mom, what happened? I told him. He listened. Then he said, Are you sure Natalie did this? I stared at him. My security system was turned off. Maybe someone else did it. The note is in her handwriting. Mom, you can't accuse her without proof. I couldn't believe it. She was seen leaving my room. Who saw her? My housekeeper. He shook his head. Today is my wedding. I said, And I'm your mother. I know. Then why are you defending her? He didn't answer. A few minutes later, Natalie walked in. She looked at me. Then she smiled. You actually came. I said, Were you hoping I wouldn't? She looked at Jackson. I told you she might cause a scene. Jackson sighed. Mom, please. That was when I realized they had already decided who the problem was. Me. So I stopped arguing. The ceremony went ahead. I smiled. I clapped. I took pictures. I even hugged Natalie. She whispered in my ear, Try not to ruin this for him. I whispered back, I'm not the one ruining anything. She smiled. Then she walked away. During the reception, things got worse. Natalie started telling people I wasn't doing well. One guest asked about my hair. Natalie said, She hasn't been sleeping much lately. Another woman asked if I was okay. Natalie said, She gets confused sometimes. I stood across the room listening. She was trying to make me look unstable. Then I heard her talking to one of her friends. She'll calm down once we have the money. Her friend asked, And if she doesn't? Natalie laughed. Jackson will handle her. That was the last straw. I went outside and called my attorney. Everything is still frozen? Yes. Good. Then I went back inside. The speeches started. Natalie was smiling. She looked completely confident. She had no idea the money was gone. Then the maid of honor finished her speech. The DJ announced, Now we'd like to invite the mother of the groom to say a few words. I stood up. Natalie smiled at me. She probably expected some emotional speech about how beautiful she was. I walked to the microphone. I looked at Jackson. Then I looked at Natalie. I wasn't planning to talk about money tonight. Natalie relaxed. Then I continued. But I think everyone here should know what happened this morning. The room went quiet. Jackson stood. Mom, please. I ignored him. I woke up this morning and someone had shaved my head while I was sleeping. People started whispering. Natalie immediately said, She's doing this because she's angry with me. I held up the note. This was left beside my bed. Jackson looked at Natalie. She shook her head. I didn't write that. I said, It's your handwriting. No, it isn't. I looked at my attorney, who was sitting at one of the tables. He stood up. I said, We had the handwriting compared this afternoon. Natalie's face changed. The room went silent. My attorney didn't need to say anything else. Natalie turned to Jackson. Don't listen to her. Jackson looked confused. I continued. And that's not the only thing. I told everyone about the security system, the missing jewelry, the destroyed dress, and what I'd overheard at the rehearsal dinner. Natalie started yelling, You were spying on me? I was walking past a room. You're insane. I looked at her. Maybe. Then I smiled. But I'm still the person who controls the $120 million. That shut her up. I looked at Jackson. Tomorrow morning you were supposed to receive $120 million from me. His face went pale. Natalie immediately stepped forward. You promised. I said, I promised my son I'd help him. Then I looked directly at her. I never promised you anything. She started crying. You're destroying his wedding. I shook my head. No. I put the note back into my purse. You did that when you decided to enter my bedroom and shave my head. Jackson finally spoke. Mom. I looked at him. You had all day to ask me what happened. He said nothing. You chose not to. Then I turned toward Natalie. And you had all day to apologize. She didn't. Instead, she kept demanding the money. That told me everything I needed to know. I stepped away from the microphone. Enjoy the rest of your wedding. Natalie stared at me. Where are you going? I smiled. Home. Then I added, and don't worry. She looked confused. I said, I'll leave the $120 million exactly where it is. She smiled for half a second, until I finished. In my account. Then I walked away.